that is known as fodder crops. Now, fodder crops refer to vegetative matter. I As I have discussed regarding the life cycle of the crop, the vegetative part was before flowering. Before flowering, I have told you that when we are using these vegetative part of the plant for feeding the livestock, that is fresh or in preserved form, any other form, it is referred to as forage crops. Okay, you have learned from here that his vegetative matter can be preserved formers that can be used later on during off season when these forage crops are not in the field and they are utilized feed for animals. The students it includes fodder, hay, silage and pasture. What is the meaning of this? Later we will discuss, but for now, just have this clear idea that a few crops that is solely grown for fodder forage purpose means for feeding animals. Example is Penicum max, maximum, maximum and Ceteria and subs. These are all the examples of forage crops. Now students, there are four terms that we discussed in this previous slides, that was fodder, hay, silage and pastures. Now, what is the difference between these four? Very first one, fodder. Fodder means basically all kind of vegetative material, all kind of vegetative part of the plant that we are using for feeding the livestock. Okay. Next, hay. Hay is nothing, and silage. What is hay and silage mean? We will be discussing the difference between the his hay and silage in detail. Before that, let me tell you that third term was pastures. Student, what is pasture? It is basically huge land is covered with grasses. You might have seen some lands, huge land that is covered with grasses, and they are farmers take the livestock and they are allowed to graze on these lands. This is called pastures. Now, important thing to be remembered here is difference between hay and silage. uh, Students, hay is basically all vegetative material when it has been cut and from the field and taken to the farm. Then a farmer used to dry it, bring down moisture percentage to 12 percentage. The moisture percentage of hay is taken down to 12 percentage, and then it is preserved. Now if we will preserve it for farmer will preserve it for without drying. What will happen? It will decay. That will lead to decay, a fungal infection. In order to prevent that decaying, farmers what they do is allow sun dry the grass, down the moisture content to 12 percentage. But there is another term known as silage. Under silage, they are again the fodder material is preserved, but here uh, proper fermentation with proper fermentation technique, uh, like corn, legumes and grasses, that is harvested at early maturity, finely chopped, packed tightly to exclude air and stored in taversillos, taversillos pits or trenches. Proper fermentation, which is used as animal feed. The storage structures like silos, pits and trenches, storage structures in which the chopped fodder material is kept for fermentation process. After achieving the required texture of this fermented silage, silage. Then it is used for feeding the livestock. Now here it is fermented, so anything kept under this difference between this silage and hay is directly dried. Preserved fermentation is done. Fodder material is preserved for further uses. Clear? So example of silage crop is cowpea, jowar, and sorghum. You are clear with this? Next one is green manure crops. Green manure crops which are incorporated into the soil for improving the soil productivity. Okay, what is mean by soil productivity? As we discussed about legume crops have their own ability to fix their atmospheric nitrogen into their roots, and hence it is improving the soil nitrogen content. Now, there are few other crops which have their ability, and they are rich in nutrients, and rich in nutrients and other kind of nutrients, rich in soil fertility. Improving the soil fertility, it will help in. Farmers grow these crops for the purpose of incorporating before flowering. Before they set flowers, the farmers cut these crops and incorporate into the soil. Okay. After decomposition of these crops will lead to the increase in the productivity of the soil due to rich in nitrogen and nutrient content. Such crops which are used for this purpose are known as green manure crops. Green manure crops are those crops which are used for incorporating this plant tissue in the soil, incorporating their plant tissue into their soil. Example, sun hemp and dentia. These are all the very good green manure crops that can be incorporated into the soil for increasing the soil productivity. The last category that we are we are discussing here is spices and condiments. Indians no need to explain this, as this is added in the food, like which improve the flavor and color. It is called spices and condiments. Example: ginger, garlic are the examples. Aroma of the food, they are added. Okay, there are many kind of spices and condiments available, as you can see in the slide. That ginger, chili pepper, fenugreek, white pepper, the sticks, cinnamon sticks. These are all the spices and condiment crops from which the we are obtaining, and we are using them for increasing the flavor and aroma of our food. Example is ginger, garlic, and turmeric. These are all called spices crops, from which spices are obtained. Next, successfully completed the classification of field crops, use of crop plants and their produce. In the upcoming video, we will be rest classifications of the field crops: ontogeny, scientific, season, mode of pollination, nutrient uptake, climate, depth and type of root system, carbon dioxide fixation, and special purpose. So thank you for watching.